Hi, welcome to Warrior Commission Now, where we talk about practical ways to live your commission, your co-mission with God. This is Sharon Rudolph.
Hi.
And I'm Christine Casten. Today, we are going to be covering or discussing God's lush abundance. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that means, kind of cover some things that are on our heart about it, and just actually bring it into a broader perspective of what God's doing today. So Sharon, do you want to start us off and just kind of talk a little bit about lush abundance and maybe the scripture that has resonated in this time for this particular conversation?
Yes, I love relationship with God and how we can have conversations with him, and he loves to talk to us. I love that about Jehovah anyway. And I was visiting with him, what's important to you today? That's a standard question. Okay, God, what's important to you today? And he took me to a song. There's a song out right now called Honey from the Rock. And I'm like, God, I've never heard of that before. So I started doing some research. Yeah. Who knew Google could help you study the Bible? But anyway, and it took me to Deuteronomy 32. And I'm going to start in verse 11. And it says, like an eagle that stirs up its nest and hovers over its young, that spreads its wings to catch them and carries them aloft. We could talk a long time about eagles and how they take care of their kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Lord alone has led him. And that's Jacob, that's Israel, that's the people of God. No foreign God was with him. He made him ride on the heights of the land and fed him from the fruit of its field. He nourished him with honey from the rock and with oil from the flinty crag, with curds and milk from the herd and flock, and with the fattened lambs and goats. And when you listen to the world, there's so much concern. Oh gosh, there's going to be a food crisis. There's going to, the supply chain isn't working. And I'm like, God, how is it when I put an order in, I'm getting my stuff, right? How is it that I'm seeing these blessings, but the world is talking about being afraid? Mm-hmm. And I love how when you focus on God's heart and what's important to him, he will help you see his provision. He will help you see how good he wants to be for us. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, is it possible for those of you who know some Old Testament, could it really be that the children of God, even New Testament children of God, have a land of Goshen, have a favor, we get to see the goodness of God in the land of the living? And how will my life be different if I focus on that?
Yeah. Well, and God does say, or Jesus does say, there will be trials and tribulations.
Yes.
We know the world will get darker as our light gets brighter. But in that, there's a connection with God that takes us into a place of relationship that does provide us all we need. Maybe not all we want, but all we need. And so, I think about all the different miracles we've heard about. Now, the truth is not everyone receives a miracle that's exactly the same of what they want, because we know that sometimes the lush abundance of God is also connected to the wisdom of God and his ability to be before, after, and out of time. Right. And so we don't always understand how his provision will work or how it will come, but we know it will. And that, to me, you hear stories about people who were like, I was down to my last piece of food and I needed to make lunch for my children, and all I had was an apple. This was Patricia King, I think, sharing this story. And she opened the door and there was a bag of groceries that someone had left. And it's that kind of thing. It's always 11th hour. It seems like it's always last minute, but he does provide. And there is a lush abundance in the relationship with God that is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's absolutely amazingly stunning when we really open our hearts to, and I think submission is a big part of it too.
Yes. Yes. And I have been hearing this word surrender. And when we surrender what we think we want with what God knows we need, and are willing to receive it and be happy about it, be excited about it, it's amazing how it really shifts. I know it shifts my internal compass. It helps me see things differently. And it's really fun when you receive the lush abundance of God, and now you have more to give away.
And we're going to do a different talk on responding to the lush abundance of God.
Right.
So because we want to really unpack that piece. There's submission is a part of it, but then there's that question of what does that look like? So that will be responding to lush abundance. But when we talk about the lush abundance of God's heart, I know that in times of in different seasons, sometimes he's very communicative, like he's just talking all the time. He's chatty Cathy. And then there are other seasons where it's like he is so quiet. And you're sitting there going, God, where are you? Like, I know you're here. You give me what I need in this moment, but you seem quiet. And in those moments, what he's shown me is he's actually, sometimes when he's the quietest, he's actually doing the most to move on our behalf. To bring things into, I call him the great multitasker, to bring things into the moment in time where what we need is supplied. And that lush abundance then becomes even more than just what we need physically. But the abundance part to me is the expansion of what it is to be in trust, to be in confidence with my relationship with God, to be in a place of faith.
Right. Yes. And God, that whole God providing thing, exactly what you need. And he does lift us up. He takes us to high places. He gives us a perspective that we wouldn't have otherwise. He helps us see things the way he sees things. And I think that's part of his lush abundance, that he knows that we need an upgrade. He knows that we need to be able to see beyond what's going on in the world around us, to be able to even recognize the lush abundance. And I started out talking about this song on I say the radio because of my history, but it's usually on YouTube or Google, or it's something. I will see it somewhere else, but it's on the radio. Anyway, and just how he brings what we need when we need it, and how much his lush abundance really does come out of him knowing our hearts. He knows us better than we know ourselves. And he knows just the kindness that we need. And I'm very, very appreciative of the abundance of his kindness towards us, no matter what's going on around us.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So if you're interested in connecting to a group that is not just experiencing God's lush abundance, but also talking about it, seeking God's heart, learning how to respond to God's lush abundance, and really training in how to discover his abundance. How is he moving when he's quiet? What does it look like? How do you identify what God is doing in the midst of a situation that seems chaotic or seems people being people or whatever? How do you find his heart to really tap into that lush abundance that he's giving you at all times? So we are called the Warrior Commission, and we do train, we develop and grow up in God is another way to say it. We're always encouraging each other in that process, and would love for you to check us out. Go see our website and find out more about us. If you have questions, you're welcome to send an email. And if you feel like the Lord's saying, go ahead and jump into this, then there's a way to fill out an inquiry that gets you that information and kind of starts you toward that process. So anyway, we would love to see you at thewarriorcommission.com, and it is in the text as well, in case you don't know exactly how to spell it or what it looks like. You can see it there. And we'll talk to you soon. Y'all have a great day.
Bye.